Hello everyone and welcome back to Mini Monets. My name is Miss Liz and today we are going to be making a light up coral reef. And as you can see here with our lights off, the tea lights inside of the tissue paper light up to look like a real coral reef. So if you registered for this program, you should have received a craft bag that has all the materials inside that you will need. In addition to those materials, you will also be needing a few extra things. Those extra things include a pair of scissors, some kind of glue. I have a glue stick here, but you can really use any kind of glue, and markers or crayons or something you can use to color with. So the first step in creating our coral reef craft is painting our egg carton here. Some of you will have blue paint and some of you will have pink paint because in real life, the coral reef is all kinds of colors. And this part here is going to serve basically as the foundation of our project, or really just the coral reef part of our project. So you're going to use your sponge brush to apply the paint. I actually painted mine off camera, so it looks like this. So take a moment to apply your paint onto your egg carton and then we move on to the next step. So once you have your egg carton painted, the next step is using our tissue paper to fill up each of these slots in our egg carton. And as you can see in your craft bag, you do have 3 tea lights. So we're going to wrap these in tissue paper to place inside the egg carton. And for the other 3 slots, we'll just fill those with tissue paper. So let's start first with wrapping our tea lights. So also in your bag, you will see you have various color tissue paper. Everyone kind of has a different variety here, so it's really up to you on which ones you'd like to use first. So to wrap your tea light, all you need to do is place a tea light in the center of a piece of tissue paper. Make sure you have your mini rubber bands handy, which are in these sandwich baggies, because we'll need those to tighten the top. And then we're just going to wrap the tea light in the tissue paper and kind of just fold it up towards the top. So it'll look something like this. Tea light on the bottom, and then we're kind of just pinching the tissue paper towards the top here. And then you'll want to use one of your mini rubber bands to fasten and tighten the tissue paper. So I'm just going to use this green rubber band here so it matches. I'm going to stick it around, and like I said, just use that mini rubber band to basically fasten the tissue paper so that way it doesn't move around. So as you can see here, I'm using this rubber band, and it's kind of towards the bottom here. And you can really leave this tissue paper sticking up if you'd like. As you can see, when you place it in the egg carton, it does stick out a lot. If that's the way you want to leave it, that's totally fine. I prefer to trim mine a little bit. That way it doesn't look too bulky. So I'm going to use my scissors to just trim the top a little bit. But like I said, this is kind of your own, your own choice. Use your own creativity to make it as long or as short as you'd like. I kind of like this height. Like I said, that way when you stick it in, it doesn't look too bulky. But again, totally up to you. All right, so we're going to set that one aside and move on to the next one. I also found that using the lighter color tissue papers, like the yellows or the light greens, work better because you're able to see the light more brightly. But again, you can use your own judgment and really use any color you like. That's kind of just my own preference. So now we're going to go ahead and wrap this one as well. And you don't have to use matching rubber bands like I am. You can really use any color you'd like, but I just find that using the matching rubber bands makes it look a little more uniform. But again, totally up to you. All right, so now we have 2 wraps. One more to go. I think I'll use this second piece of green tissue paper. And then once we are done wrapping our tea lights, we're going to make kind of 3 more little tissue paper sort of bulbs. So we're just going to be using the same process of pinching and wrapping a rubber band around them, but they just won't have tea lights inside. So now I'm done. Now I have my 3 wrapped tea lights all ready to go. Obviously, I don't have the lights on right now, but because the tissue paper is so thin, you can still turn the light on, so you don't have to really worry about turning the light on before you wrap them in tissue paper. So I'm going to set those aside for now. And next, we are going to wrap our empty tissue papers. So what I did for this is I just took either side and kind of folded them inwards towards one another. And then I just kind of pinched at the top, pinched the opposite sides together again, and then I just pinched it towards the middle here to kind of create this top part that's sticking out, and then the bottom is kind of more just flowing here. So then you'll have something like this, and then again you'll want to stick a rubber band around the top part there to kind of secure it. And they don't have to be perfect because they're going to just be sitting in the egg slots anyway. So if you know, it looks a little bent or a little uneven, that's okay, because the only part that really matters is just this top part sticking out here, because that's the part that's going to be sticking out from the egg slots. And again, if you want to trim them, you can. If you want to leave them long, that's totally fine as well. And then you'll have something that just looks like this. And we're going to do that 2 more times. So again, just folding either side together, slowly like this, then pinching these sides together, cinching towards the middle, and then this top sticks out and the bottom flows out the bottom here. Then secure with a rubber band and you're all set. See, just like that. And we're going to do that 1 more time. You probably will have some rubber bands left after making your little tissue paper bulbs. We're going to be using the rest for a different part of the project. Just so you don't think you didn't use up anything, you should have leftover rubber bands. Okay, so now we have all 3 of our little tissue paper bulbs made. We're going to set those aside as well. The next step we are going to do is creating some seaweed. So in your kit, you'll see that you have 2 green pipe cleaners. For your seaweed, you're just going to bend it in towards the middle to make a V. And then what I did to kind of make it look more like seaweed is I just kind of bent each side inward and then outward, basically to make kind of like a squiggle or a zigzag, just like this. So it bends inward and outward. That way it kind of looks more like seaweed or like it's moving around in the water. So the V shape, and then you can just simply bend each side inwards and outwards. And then to kind of just give it a little more detail, I decided to just put some rubber bands, some of these mini rubber bands on the pipe cleaner. I just thought it added a little more texture to it. So you can add them if you want. If you don't want to, that's totally up to you. So even though I used a blue rubber band on the green seaweed, it's okay. They don't have to match. They can match if you want. If you don't want them to match, that's okay as well. So I think I'm just going to add 1 on each side. But again, you can add really as many as you want. I did give you more rubber bands than you'll need. So feel free to add as many rubber bands as you want. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to add 1 on each side. So you'll see here I have my little V shape, and then each squiggle on the side, and then I added rubber bands on the pipe cleaners for some texture. We're going to do that 1 more time. So we're basically going to have 2 pieces of seaweed. So I make my V like I did just now. Then I'm just bending inwards and outwards to make zigzags. And then once again, I am going to add just 1 rubber band on each side. Your pipe cleaners might get a little bent as you're putting in your rubber band, but luckily they're so easy to maneuver that it's not a big deal to just move it back. Okay, I'm going to add 1 more on this side, and then we can move on to the next step. Yeah, as you can see, this one's getting really bent, but we can fix it. All right, so I'm just going to straighten this guy out a little bit more. Add some more squiggles here. Okay, and now I have my 2 completed seaweeds. All right, so next in your craft bag, you will see you have an empty fish cutout. This one is a clownfish because clownfish in real life do live in the coral reef. I like to just color my fish so they look realistic. I colored mine off camera. I did use black and orange, so it looks like a real clownfish, but you can use your own creativity and color your fish any kind of variety of colors you'd like. Once you have your fish colored, go ahead and cut that out. Then you do have a piece of foam here. We're going to be attaching this fish under our foam and cutting it out. That way the fish has something sturdy to stick onto so we can place it inside of our coral reef. So go ahead and use your glue. I'm just using a glue stick, but like I said earlier, you can really use any kind of glue. And go ahead and glue your fish onto that piece of foam. And then once you are done with that, you'll have just your fish perfectly on the foam there. Then we're going to cut it out. I like to use, or rather to leave a little bit of space, like a border outside of the fish when I cut it. You don't have to do that, but you can if you want. Again, it's really up to you. That's what art is about, using your own creative freedom. So, like I said, I leave a little bit of a border of foam here, but you don't have to do that, only if you want. Next, you're going to want to attach your white pipe cleaner to the back of that piece of foam. So you can use glue if you want. Glue should hold the pipe cleaner. However, I'm just going to use a piece of tape because it's a little quicker and then I won't have to wait for it to dry. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick a piece of tape on the back of that piece of foam and attach the pipe cleaner. So that way your fish will look something like this. And then we are about done. So you're going to take your painted egg carton. It should be dry by now. If it is not dry by now, wait a few more minutes before it is fully dry. Then you're going to take your tea light tissue papers and stick them inside the egg carton. I like to space mine out a little bit. That way when it's lit up, the light is a little more spread, but you can place them wherever you'd like. Next, go ahead and take those tissue paper bulbs and stick them inside the remaining egg slots. You'll want to make sure that the wide part is going in first. And then next, you're going to take your 2 pipe cleaner seaweeds and stick them inside. What I like to do is just lift up the tea lights and kind of stick those pipe cleaners on the side because the weight of the pipe cleaner will help, or the weight of the tea light rather, will help hold them in place. And then last but not least, you have your fish here on the pipe cleaner. You're going to stick that right inside the hole here in this egg carton. It fits perfectly in. And then your coral reef is complete. And make sure you take a moment to turn off the lights. Make sure your tea lights are on, and then you can see your lit up coral reef. And that's about it. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all very soon. Bye-bye.